Welcome to WiEP Community Call, dedicated to women developers in the Ethereum space. It's truly inspiring to see such a vibrant and diverse group of talented individuals in the space to share knowledge, experiences, and ideas. I see some familiar names and some people are new to me, but I hope to get to know most of you here today. So thank you for taking out time to join this meeting, especially when we have EthCC in progress. So please consider this as a side event of EthCC that you can join even from the main event venue. Hello, everyone. My name is Pooja Ranjan. I am one of the team members behind the WIEP team, and we have exciting agenda lined up, filled with information and opportunities for networking and making the first-time contribution to the Ethereum ecosystem. So whether you are a seasoned developer, newcomer, or Ethereum community member, somewhere in between new and seasoned, your participation is invaluable, and we encourage you to engage fully in this session today. I have not prepared any feedback form to collect your afterthoughts, but please feel free to share in the meeting today or after the meeting on Twitter, but be sure to tag us at WIEP team on Twitter. Before we get there, may we have a brief round of introduction? I know there are some new faces. It would be lovely to hear one or two sentences about your work, like the project you are representing here today. Or if you would want, you can also explain a little bit more about it when we get into Meet the Developers section. So quickly, if people would like to say a few words.
Sure.
My name is Lily. I'm pretty new to the Ethereum community, or just like meeting people from the Ethereum community. Yeah, I'm a developer. Happy to be here. I'm working on like a EIP that I'm hoping to like get some feedback on.
Hi everyone, I'm Gyaan and I'm a developer advocate with the Starknet Foundation, and I'm also one of the co-founders of a community called the Phoenix Guild, which is aimed to bring more diversity into the Web3 space with the help of education. I'm one of the hosts of a study group that we are running in collaboration with the Women in Ethereum Protocol team, which is what I'll be presenting in just a bit. So my other co-host Lena, she couldn't join because she's at the EthCC booth. I'm also at the EthCC week. That's why I look like I've just lost a few days of sleep because it's the truth. But yeah, I'm excited to share our insights from the first cohort and share more about the study group that we are working on.
Hey everyone, my name is Katya Riazantseva. I'm a Cohort 1 participant, and currently I'm a Ethereum Protocol Fellow. I can see also Mercy here. Hi Mercy, she's also participating. Yeah, I'm a Web3 developer. Thank you.
I'll introduce myself. I'm Nixo. I'm the executive director of eStaker. eStaker is a nonprofit that helps support solo stakers and encourages people to stake in the most decentralized form possible. And we think that that helps the entire Ethereum network as a whole, since the consensus layer is the most important layer to keep decentralized and diverse.
Awesome. I'll jump in too. I'm Keri and I work on the Python team at the Ethereum Foundation. Yeah.
Hello, I'm Messi. So I'm currently participating as a permissionless fellow at EPF Code 4. My project is basically on creating a tool for forcing granting a consensus layer. That's all. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Time. I'm a founder of a diverse group of people, Lady Day DAO. It's help inclusion and equity for women and minorities, trying to give them more access to a lot of opportunities based on, really educating as the first key and helping a lot of diverse populations, such as unhoused, mental health, and cancer. Been doing this for a little bit. One of the main groups is a Metagame. It's a group for developers. It's kind of like the connective tissue for DAOs. And yeah, thank you.
Awesome. All right. I mean, it is really interesting to meet most of the people over here. I know EthStakers has been a long-time contributor to the Ethereum space, and we have Gyaan, and we have Katya, and we have people from Cohort 1. It was really lovely to know that we have EPF participants helping out with the project Grandine. Grandine is kind of one of the latest project added to Ethereum ecosystem who went open source recently. So it will be very interesting to follow the work that you are doing there. And yeah, I look forward to learn more from each one of you. Let me go ahead and start sharing, but we will come back on introduction part if anyone else will be interested in sharing more about their project. So everyone, please get on ease. I will pull out my presentation that have all the agenda points and we'll get into one by one. Again, welcome all to this community call. And we are hoping to cover anecdotes from EthCC, summary from the study group Cohort 1, and we'll meet more women developer in the space. We'll have announcement for the next cohort, when we are planning to begin it and what you can expect in there. As I said, there are some new faces and there are some familiar faces, but for people who are learning about Ethereum group, this particular group, WiEP group, for the first time, I'd like to quickly go over the overview of it. So we started with discussion among Ethereum ecosystem. People from Ethereum Foundation, from client developers team came together. We talked with cat herders. I'm also a part of Ethereum cat herders. We all discussed together to bring something that can add more to the diversity of it. We just thought of bringing up a group that can help and empower more women in this space. We wanted to have more women into protocol development. The reason we want to encourage women getting into protocol development is because this space is flourishing. This provides a lot of opportunity. We have flexibility of work and we can become industry leader. There are many women in the application side of it, which I'm very grateful to. I'm really happy to see those women flourishing on their own, but their contribution on protocol side could also be very, very much appreciated. When we are talking about getting involved with the Ethereum protocol, the first question that comes to our mind is how can we get involved with the protocol development? From outside, sometimes it can be overwhelming to see that it is very difficult for us. We may not be able to do that, but it's not that difficult. And many women in here today can vouch for that. They have made their transition from their first contribution to Ethereum to the study group to the protocol fellowship. And I am hoping that they would be one day client developers as well. What you need to do is very simple. You need to keep yourself updated with what's going on. There are various forums that you can follow. First and foremost is the core developers call. There are two different core developers call that happens every Thursday at 1400 UTC. One is for the consensus layer of client and the other one is for the execution layer of clients. So whatever is your area of interest, whatever is your side of interest, you can pick the call. It's always advisable to go and join both the calls because you will get the full context. Because at the end of the day, Ethereum is one chain and we would want to run it smoothly. Whatever is your area of interest, we are there for you. You can also join the ETH R&D Discord and pick up a channel of interest again, because we have so many different moving parts that we would want to get support with, and you can make your contribution over there. You can also follow the ETH research page to look into the research side of it. So from there, you can come up with your ideas of standardization, make a proposal for Ethereum, and we will have an EIP from your end. We have a participants here who has just shared an EIP, proposed an EIP. We'll listen more about it. And to participate in active discussion, we have Fellowship of Ethereum Magician, where we discuss each of these proposals in length. So join any of these forums or all of these, and you could learn more about Ethereum protocol. At this time, we are encouraging women to join us with 3 different membership, you can say, definitely as protocol contributors, because that's the end game of this WiEP team. We would love to have you as allies as well, just like Gyaan and Lena with their projects and DAOs, her DAO and TPG. And of course, we are getting some advices from people from the foundation and people who are experienced in this industry to support these women get involved with the Ethereum ecosystem. We had organized a few different calls earlier. There was this Women's Day celebration. You may follow the video on the channel. I will share the slides link after that. You can also check it out. And there was a Brussels branch, which I missed it, unfortunately. I know some of the people over here, they joined. Maybe we'll be listening more about it from Gyaan. So yeah, Gyaan, over to you. And please feel free to share anecdotes.
Sure. Thanks, Pooja. We had a small and cozy Women in Ethereum Protocol brunch on the 7th of July, which was between 9 a.m. and 11, and then went on a bit more. And yeah, we had a few different participants who were like from different parts of the globe, but also from different backgrounds. So we had Ashley, who was a previous cohort fellow. We had Lucilla, we had Sogol, who is in the current cohort, I believe, or from the just previous cohort. So we had, and then Lena, myself, we had few other women, LaDonna from the WiEP team. We had kept it like very simple, free flowing. We wanted to discuss how do each of us want to kind of contribute, how do we want to participate in the ecosystem. I think one of the major learnings that we got is that we do want to do more of these study groups which people want to participate in. I'll talk about our study group format in just a bit, but there was also demand from people who are not into development but just getting into development for beginner focused study groups as well. So that is something that we're figuring out if they should be more run by ecosystems like Phoenix Wheel Herdao or by other people who want to volunteer, and maybe we'll figure that out. So that was one request. And the second one is, of course, continuing running our study group format, which is focused more on like GitHub solving issues and all of that. And we also had folks from the EPF present at the brunch, and they shared a bit more about the fact that the EPF cohort is actually quite like permissionless. Apart from those who are selected to be given stipends, anyone can actually join the cohort and just create a pull request and start like updating their own progress on GitHub. And this can be their first effort into like contributing in a way to kind of, their journey towards Ethereum protocol. So that was very interesting. And then they also shared a link where they have put up like all the good first issues. So that was a great like insight for us since our study group runs mainly on that. These were some few highlights, and I think we presented the numbers from our study group, which also again I'll present shortly. It got really good feedback, and people were happy that this exists. And I think in general also just more appreciation for meeting IRL, being able to come together, being able to discuss issues, being in the same room together, I think was quite efficient, like it was quite effective. So that was nice. I don't know it was fun anecdotes or just like anecdotes, but yeah, I described the whole thing, whatever we did. It was just 2.5 hours, but we really did have like good conversations and things going on. One major, like one fun request, not fun, but like required request is that we should invite more men to our gatherings. So they also understand, like, in terms of the issues that potentially we are facing, or maybe somewhat the barriers that we have. Can they help somehow? What can be their contributions? Because maybe most people seems like they do want to help, but they just don't know in what format. And them being able to get involved in our discussions, they could actually also understand that what is it that's holding us back, and how can they support as peers, as mentors, and on those lines. So there was one guy who was very skeptical, but he was nice about it. So yeah, that's pretty much it from EthCC.
Thank you for sharing important and fun-filled anecdotes from the event. If you would like to maybe quickly talk about the summary of the first cohort, how we started, and yeah, if you have any stats to share.
Yeah, so I'll quickly explain the format of our first cohort that we just recently finished. I mean, it's semi-ongoing because some people are still working on the issues. But the main idea of this cohort is that we meet every Friday for an hour, and in the beginning of the cohort, we assign issues to everyone from a particular repository. Now that we have more first good issues that we have received from the EPF team. We can actually look at those as well for our next cohort onwards. But basically, this time we picked up one repository that Pooja had helped us, the EIPW repository. And we picked up issues from there and we just assigned it to women. And we assigned it to, instead of assigning one to every person, we assigned it to pairs of women because we wanted them to sort of work together, have an accountability partner that can help them do their best. And every Friday, we would just meet together to discuss basically three things. One is what is their progress issue, what is something that is stopping them, like what's the barrier to continue, and third is how can we help them. This is pretty much all that we discussed in every call and and submit a PR for their issue. This is the format of the study group, and we want to continue like with this format because we have got good responses and we have seen like good amount of success rate, and we are seeing that even those who have not yet filed the PR are still continuing to work on their PR. So that's also like good success sort of parameters for us. Pooja, if you can share the slides, I can share quickly some numbers. I think you already added that in your slide prep, some statistics
Yes.
that we had.
So yeah, I can share today's slide, and I think I have added a few numbers over there. As Gyaan was sharing, we announced this study group in the month of May, and this is a screenshot from the first day. We had a small group, but eventually it evolved. And here are some stats, Gyaan, if you would like to explain that.
Yeah. So we shared it as like a very informal thing, as in we just publicized it from a few like Twitter groups and stuff. We didn't go very hard on marketing or anything because we wanted to reach more genuine people rather than just going like guerrilla marketing kind of style. So it worked for us. We had 41 applicants, about 14 participants, and so far we have 3 closed issues. And out of these 14 participants, we have paired them, and then we had one participant, Root, who did like a solo PR herself. And we closed about 3 issues. I think now maybe one more. And we have 5 more PRs that are to be closed, but are working on it. And from our cohort, we have 2 members in the current EFP group. Katya is one of them. And there is one more person who I don't know. Either they signed up or they are still, continuing to work on their PR. We did have good interactions. We have now also circulated a feedback. We circulated a feedback form after the cohort as well to understand what people want. And we did see that there is interest in continuing this, as I mentioned before. And we got some good feedback in terms of the how do we structure this cohort. So last time, one of the problems that we faced, one of the learnings for us was that the creator of the GitHub repo, if they are able to come and give a brief of the GitHub repo, then it is much easier for people to, start working on it because they know where to find what information. This time, I think first couple of weeks, as Pooja mentioned, we kickstarted in May, but we are starting to roll out the PRs actually, now, like around first week of July, just before I left for EthCC, last week of June and stuff like that. It's because we were struggling a bit to understand the repos. The repos are very huge themselves. If the creator of the repo is able to come and do a brief, then it is really good for us to, just work speedily on the issues. So that was one really good learning that we had. And then the second good learning was like being able to pair people and have like accountability partners. I think those who actually had accountability partners working continuously with them finish much faster than people whose accountability partners dropped off, couldn't work with them, etc. Then they had to kind of, work on the issues by themselves. So yeah, these were like some good learnings. And we have a lot of people from, I think, first cohort that have joined the call as well. We have Kola, we have IJ, and Vikish is also Alia, Asli. All of them are from our first cohort. So Katya, of course, we've already introduced her. And yeah, I think it was a good learning for us.
Just to add on the information about the selection of the repository. So the EIPW repository was a bot repository that we used to ensure the proposals, those are getting in as a form of EIP pull request, are validated enough. We would like to automate as much as possible, though we have editors who are looking into all these proposals, but it's always good to get help with bot. So thanks to all the contributors, I don't see Sam on the call today, but he has left a message with me. He mentioned this morning that I will try to pop in, but if I don't show up, please let everyone know that I really appreciate their contribution and they have done an excellent job on that. Just to let these girls know, Sam was the only person who was working on the entire repository before you girls showed up to help him. So it's a huge thanks from all of us to support with this process and make your contribution to the Ethereum repository at the same time. So let's get into the next section of women developers in space. I have already received confirmation from 2 speakers, so let me first invite them. And if anyone else would like to maybe take some time and talk about their projects, please feel free to do so. After that, just drop a note in the chat and I will invite you. So my first speaker here today is Keri Clowes from the Ethereum Foundation. She works for the Python team. Keri, please join us.
All right. So I'm Keri Clowes, like Pooja mentioned, and we talked about earlier. I work for the Ethereum Foundation. Have been there since 2018. I'm the team lead for the Snake Tremors team, and we work on Python developer tooling. So basically like tools that connect the blockchain to like a Python backend. We have about 20 repos that we maintain, and our most popular library is web3.py. It gets about 1 million downloads per month. As far as my background goes, I have a degree in chemical engineering. I learned to code at a boot camp a long time ago now. And I was first introduced to Ethereum in 2015 from a coworker of mine and went down the rabbit hole and kind of got more serious about it in 2017 or so. This is our logo for our libraries. So if you see that around, there we go. So Pooja today wanted me to talk about places that for people to get involved. I am biased. This is our library. There's a QR code for our main Web3.py library. We have a bunch of issues. Everything we do is open source, and the community has such like a big open source ethos that it's super easy to get involved, but it's also the only thing limiting you is your time and your learning curve. There's no barriers that people put up, and everyone loves third-party contributors. So we do everything in GitHub. We have this good first issue tag as well. We haven't been super great about putting on that tag, I realized yesterday when I was looking at good first issues. But if you're interested in contributing, hit me up. We are always happy to have contributors, and I'm happy to point you in the direction of issues that would be good and help kind of shepherd and review yours as well. Ethereum.org is a really good place to get involved. It's not protocol necessarily, but it's super important to the ecosystem. You can click on that participate tab there. They have like 12,000 contributors. So it's a lot of people that they contribute, and that's like part of their mission is to get more people kind of their foot in the door in the ecosystem so you can kind of springboard into something else. They have a translation program if you speak multiple languages and want to get involved that way, which is really cool. And then there's also like bounties and kind of throughout the ecosystem, like you don't always have to contribute just from your own like goodwill. There's a bunch of bounties that people have that you can get. The other thing that I just wanted to mention is Developer DAO. They are just like a group of developers. Many of them are newish to the ecosystem, and they have like a specific women like group, the Developer DAO women. You do have to have like their NFT to get in, but it's not super expensive. And then they give away, if you follow this Twitter account, they give away NFTs to the women as well, and unrepresented groups too, periodically. And then Pooja mentioned this earlier too, but the Ethereum R&D Discord server is open, and you can just kind of follow things. You can just watch, and if you have something that's interesting to you or whatever, you can kind of just like watch it and see what people are talking about, and then jump in as you feel like you know enough. And another thing that I always encourage people to do is to just show up. You can really you can join these Discord servers, you can watch research, you can kind of like look and see what's going on, and then jump in when you feel comfortable. The learning curve is steep. And then the last thing I want to mention is that like people, it's super intimidating sometimes, or it was for me anyways, but everyone's so nice in the ecosystem, or most people are so nice in the ecosystem. So yeah, don't be afraid to jump in. And that's it. This is my contact info. If you want to reach out to me, I'm Keri at ethereum.org. I'm at Clowes pretty much everywhere on GitHub or Discord or Telegram. So yeah, that's it for me.
Very well. I would like to maybe invite our next speaker for today, Lily, who is an MEV and EVM engineer at Astria, and she has recently proposed an Ethereum improvement proposal. The number is 7727 EVM transaction bundles. It's something new, and I would be interested to learn more about it. So Lily, please come over here.
Hi, it's so nice to meet everyone. I wasn't aware that this group existed. I'm very excited that it does because I love just other women in the space. Yeah, so I have been working on an Ethereum improvement proposal for EVM transaction bundles. A little bit about me: I am a Rust and EVM engineer at Astria, which is a Cosmos L1. Before that, I was a smart contract auditor for 2 years, mostly in Solidity. And then before that, I was an operating systems developer at Facebook. So I've been involved in, I guess, the system space in general for a couple of years. I got a research grant from the Uniswap Foundation last October to investigate MEV and just how can we, from the application layer, figure out new solutions to potentially help keep Ethereum decentralized. Because I guess I don't fully know the level of knowledge of this group, but when I was investigating my research for Uniswap, I noticed that block building is pretty monopolistic. As in Ethereum today has 3 main block builders that are winning all of the block composing in the MEV based auctions. And this is just problematic from a decentralization standpoint. We would want more block builders in this space just to ensure that they don't have too much influence over who is participating in Ethereum on a transaction level. And the block builders, they're able to control the sequencing of the transactions on Ethereum, which is just problematic because depending on the ordering of the transactions, it heavily influences how value flows in crypto. I think maybe $700 million a year of MEV profits are exposed on Ethereum today. So that's a lot of money. And that money, instead of going to the users of Ethereum, instead it's going to the block builders or the validators, which I love validators, but I'm just not sure that they should be the ones receiving the MEV value. So the goal of the EIP that I'm working on is to enable applications to sequence their own state to help them capture the value that is inherent in the sequencing. I guess, are there any questions on what I just said from anyone? Cool, okay. I guess, so the EIP that I'm working on, 7727, the goal of this EIP is to just help applications sequence themselves, and it includes 2 new transaction types and 1 new opcode that works for new transaction types. The first transaction type is a meta transaction. It's a bundle of transactions, and the second transaction type simply just gives permission from the transaction to be included in the bundle. So one transaction would say I approve this EOA to put me in a bundle, and then the other transaction is just the bundle of the transactions. And yeah, so I guess I came across this idea when I was building bundles for my research grant in Uniswap. I was investigating new ways to run auctions for AMMs to help with the LVR problem, and I was building block builder bundles. And I just thought it'd be really cool if applications could do this natively instead of just relying on builder infrastructure. Yeah, so that's what I'm working on right now. I guess my goal of presenting this to y'all is meet more of the Ethereum community, because I'm not really aware of how to move forward in this process. So very happy to just meet people and chat with everyone.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Lily. I know this is your first time making a proposal to Ethereum standard, and I'm sure that it's going to be a learning experience and you will have a lot to share as well as a lot to learn. The reason why I wanted you to have here today to maybe talk about your proposal is to let people know that not just client repositories are the way to get into the ecosystem. We also have different opportunities. For example, this proposal. Eventually, when this proposal moves from one status to another status, we would want this proposal to be implemented, and you can help out with use test cases for implementation or implement in specific language. Again, that will be helping out to the client developers team, but that is another way of getting involved with the Ethereum ecosystem. Lily, you are a Rust developer, and I have found very few Rust developer in the ecosystem. I would like to take this opportunity to maybe invite you to review the pull requests. Those are made by some of the girls over here to the repository EIPW. That is a Rust repository, and some of the girls are looking for support. Definitely Sam Wilson is supporting them, but it would be great to have an additional help. Thank you for that. Anyone here on the call, if you have any questions for Keri or for Lily, please feel free to share it. Oh, I see a question here. Kristine, if you would like to maybe share it all by yourself, fair enough. Otherwise, I can read it for you.
Oh, I can ask. Hi, Lily. Pretty interesting in what you're doing. My background is like non-technical, but I have basic programming language with Python. Can you elaborate on your goal on how you want the applications to create their own sequence on a very fundamental, level? Thanks.
So great question. So I guess like the idea is that the application would all like have their own like mempools that they would like then sequence themselves. Like today, like we have like a giant like mempool distribution mostly run by like block builders to like get your transactions like into a block. So the idea is that like every application would instead like have their own like mempool that they would then sequence. I work a lot with like TEEs, like I work with like Flashbots and like Swab. And a TE is like a potential way for like applications to securely order their own transactions and create bundles under like a policy that is like exposed to like users. So like the idea is every application would have its own mempool and would do its own sequencing. Are there more questions on that?
I have a question about that. So what is the incentive to do that is the only incentive to do that protecting your users from MEV opportunities? Or like, why would you do that if you yourself are not pulling in as much MEV because you're not pulling from as big a mempool?
Yeah, so like the idea is that the application would be trying to like capture its own MEV or reroute the value that's like stored in the state. For example, a Uniswap V3 pool could auction off the right to be the first swap on the pool and then like give those like auction proceeds to the LPs. A lot of the applications that are like slowly like moving like off Ethereum to like do app chains, just because it's like very beneficial for like DeFi to like have, do closes and like liquidation ads before you do like liquidations of accounts. It just it's for a better like user experience.
Okay, so the MEV is still happening. It's just happening at a smaller scale, and the application layer is the one who's capturing the MEV.
So like the MEV, like it just, I guess like the way I view MEV is like it's a market inefficiency. It's just like, since the blockchain operates on like 12-second like time slots, like the value of the real world changes, but the blockchain state is like out of date with a value change. So like the first person to like touch a piece of state can do arbitrage or like capture that value shift.
Gotcha.
And like right now, yeah, today like block builders are like the entities who are like best able to capture that value instead of like applications being able to like control that value themselves and give it back to the users who are using the protocol instead of these like outside entities.
Gotcha. Cool.
Interesting. Thank you so much. And I just noticed that this is a core proposal. A quick question to you, Lily. Are you planning to propose this proposal for definitely not Petra, maybe Osaka upgrade or any future upgrade? How far do you see your proposal from getting included into any upgrade here?
Oh, I would love to ask all how that process works. I actually am not sure what to do. Is Petra like just like a hard fork? Is that like, I would love more information on this.
Of course, for any of the core proposal, we have to deploy them via hard fork, and Petra is one of that. Petra is basically Prague and Electra. Prague are the changes on the execution side, the EVM side, and the Electra changes are for the beacon chain, or the consensus layer side. So we just have combined these two words and it became Petra. We are expecting this upgrade by the end of this year or maybe early next year, not sure. Date hasn't been announced yet, but it is currently on DevNet. I think DevNet 2 would be released very soon. But as Keri was saying, it is very important to show up. So for you, my recommendation here would be, if you want this proposal to be included in one of the future upgrades, because this is a core proposal, there is no other way for this proposal to get finalized other than getting included in an upgrade. You might want to join one of the core developers meeting, but before you join, you might want to share your proposal for discussion and get some eyes from the client developers team, whether they find it a good fit. If they find it a good fit, then only it makes sense to continue working on that, even if it is not being included for the Petra upgrade. So the first top for you would be go to Ethereum/PM GitHub repository, and there are issues for next meeting this Thursday or the following Thursday. You can pick any of the meetings as per your convenience. When you feel you are ready to share and discuss this proposal with all of the client teams, you can go ahead and do that.
Is that the best way to interact with the client teams, is through those meetings?
That's right. Yes. We would like to first introduce the proposal to developer team. And once they feel a bit comfortable, even if it is not 100% specced out, if they feel comfortable, then we take it from there. Then there will be a lot of iteration going on. And then I think other than just making sure to respond to all those comments, those are received via Fellowship of Ethereum Magician, you as an author or champion would not have to worry much about how to move this proposal to final status.
Yeah, I don't think I'm targeting the Petra upgrade. That just seems very fast. Like, I'd like to respect like the process of Ethereum and not try to like go too fast.
Of course. And one another piece of information that I love to share with everyone everywhere is like, when we want to share more information about any proposal, any Ethereum improvement proposal, I always encourage authors to come and join us on PEEP and EEP. That is where we talk about all these proposals like in depth. It's a 1-hour conversation with author where we also invite some of the client teams to ask their questions directly if they have any, or from the community, to just to make sure if we are moving ahead with the proposal, most of the people are on board. We work with like majority consensus here. We don't know if we can get 100% consensus, but yes, to provide as much as information, there is this series called PEEP and EEP that helps most of the developers community to learn about the upcoming proposals.
Amazing. I super appreciate the information, and I'll definitely like show up in those calls.
Awesome. And just for other people to know that this is only for core proposal. For different kind of proposals, the process may vary. I'm happy to answer any questions on that. We do have editing office hour where you can come join us and ask questions with respect to EAP editing process. In the essence of time, if anyone has any more question for either Keri or for Lily, please feel free to add it here. Or if anyone would like to maybe talk about their project, we still have 5 minutes. Yeah, Katya, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to share the YouTube playlist of Ethereum Fellowship group, because it's super helpful if you are at the beginning to learn the protocols, how they work. It's fantastic. I usually use it. And a lot of times I watch it. Yeah. And I also share my Twitter as well, because I publish this weekly report, so you can just have an idea what is going on there on the program. So if you have an intention to apply for the next cohort, it will be maybe helpful for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Katya, for sharing. Yes, of course, this series that they have created about protocol is very valuable. EPF team, they are working hard, making sure that all the related and latest spec of Ethereum protocol are out. So I would also support Katya's statement. It's very useful for newcomers to learn more about it. I have one question for Keri. You mentioned being with the team Snake Charmer, right? And I know some of the people are also working closely with Portal Network. Who would be the best point of contact if people want to reach out to in order to support Portal Network, or maybe get implementation in different client teams, if you are aware of?
Let's see, Portal Network. There's a guy named Carver who's probably a good person to talk to. That's his GitHub handle. And Piper is the other one that kind of comes to mind. Piper is the one who's running kind of the Portal Network stuff. So yeah, I'm not sure if I
No, awesome. I think that's helpful. And in any case, we can definitely reach out to you if needed, so you can get that information, or maybe put us in touch with whoever is available to maybe talk more about Portal Network, because I know this is one of the burning topics of Ethereum ecosystem right now. People want to learn more about Portal Network. Again, we do have a talk by Piper on PEEP and ETH about this Portal Network, but that was years ago. And I know things have changed a lot since then. So it would be really nice to have new information shared with the community. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
get in touch
definitely.
with you shortly.
Yep, sounds good.
All right. I am not sure about newsletter yet. I'm just trying to go through the comments, but we should start that shortly. That's a very good piece of advice. We would try to bring that up, but even if we are not there, we would definitely try to communicate via email. We have a onboarding form. I know there are so many people who are already on the list and getting emails, but if you are not there, I would highly recommend joining or maybe adding your information to the Luma invite, and we'll collect your details from there to maybe add you to the next mailing list. Seems like Gyan's internet is falling off. So let me quickly pull out the last slide and let her explain about the cohort 2.
Thank you, Pooja. So just quickly before I drop off, we are going to start the next cohort in the month of August. So a small change is that the date is not going to be the exact date. It's the 2nd of August, but we're going to start in the second week of August. So you have some time also to prep a little bit, like kind of just go through a bit of things about basics of Ethereum on epf.wiki. In case you're interested, I can share more resources and scan this QR code to pre-register. You can also follow the WiEP team to see the announcements on the registrations. If you're already following, whether you're contributed to any other open source protocols before or not, don't worry about it. You will get all the help that you need with GitHub, with creating pull requests and all of that. Katya has actually curated a really nice list of resources for this. So yeah, don't feel like you need to already know something to get started with this. If you are familiar with any one programming language, it would be very easy for you to get started with contributions. And if you're completely new to programming, you are most welcome to join the cohort, but it will be a bit difficult for you and might be a bit overwhelming to start working directly with a heavy repository with an existing logic. So I would suggest to kind of brush up on your just programming fundamentals, get to know about just practice and stuff, and then join maybe potentially our next cohort. But if you have programming experience, even if it is like beginner level experience, you are most welcome to come and join our cohort too. And yeah, we'll keep you updated more on the dates. You already have the pre-registration form here, and we will release it on socials as well really soon. So come, bring your friends, and bring your accountability partners if you want to. We will assign you one during the cohort in case you don't have one. But if you're coming with a friend and you want to work with them, nothing like it. So yeah, come register, and I will see you soon. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Gyaan. And yes, this was one of the important feedbacks that we received from the cohorts, that language is a barrier sometime. And that's why I was trying to provide this opportunity to everyone here, maybe learning about the new options or alternatives available here. As Keri was saying that she works with the Python team. So if you're an expert on Python, there could be good first issues for you in the repository that she shared. If not, just reach out to us and we'll reach out to her and we'll get that thing done. So language should not be a barrier for whoever wants to contribute to Ethereum ecosystem. We have 10 clients, 5 on execution, 5 on consensus side, and each one of them are with different languages, definitely on each side. So yes, come out, whatever is your best armor, please use that and make your contribution here. Thank you, all women. Any final comments, thoughts from anyone? I love this session.
Just please continue what you're doing. It's amazing. Super helpful and supportive.
Appreciate it. Yes, I mean, this is super exciting. I know time is up and we have to wrap up to look for a new beginning. But as we continue to build and innovate within the Ethereum ecosystem, it is important that we uplift and support each other. We want to foster a community where every voice is heard and valued. We are trying to bring diversity in client. We want to bring diversity in staking process. We are encouraging solo staking. We also want to encourage diversity in development team. So if you know any women who may be interested in following Ethereum protocol or may be interested in making their contribution, please share information about WiEP, and we would love to welcome everyone on board. Well, I would like to maybe now thank everyone for taking out time and joining us today. I would hope to organize another community call maybe in a month or so time, so we can collect more information and feedback from the community to think in which direction we can add our efforts to increase support. Thank you, everyone. Lovely talking to you all.